Hello, family. Namaste. Welcome to the next installment in the Holidays and Holy Days series. This one is on the 4th of July. So, ready or not, let's dive in, yeah? So, according to Wikipedia, the 4th of July is the quote unquote anniversary of the publication of the Declaration of Independence. So, it's a piece of paper like the Constitution, and it's accompanied by a holiday. That's what he thinks about holidays. Anyhow, so independence, like colonial countries, say in Africa and South America, anywhere where the conquistadors or the colonialists came over and set up shop, it's just a term. It doesn't actually mean anything. For instance, if I declare that, and I document this, on an official piece of paper, and I hold that up as my declaration that I want to be healthy. Okay, now what? Oh, okay, now I go to McDonald's and I eat there 3 times a day and throw all other manner of toxic stuff into my body. And I don't go to the gym, and I don't meditate, and I don't do yoga, and I don't have any spiritual practice, and so on all those fronts with my actions, I am creating a very unhealthy state. And therefore, my declaration is a moot point. So let's see how free we are, just as some examples, yeah? So basically, if you are the average taxpayer or the average worker in the United States, the federal government swoops in before you even see a penny of your paycheck and takes approximately 30% right off the top. So this goes, of course, for funding the fake money back into this fake money system so that it can further enslave us and do all other manner of things like fund never-ending wars of aggression all over the planet, commit massive human rights violations, pay for so-called public education systems. So that's, whether we agree with that or not, and I think most would agree that dropping bombs on every country in the world and blowing up children and hospitals and apartment buildings where civilians live, I believe that most of us can agree that we don't want our country to do any of that. But nonetheless, we don't have a choice because we are free, independent. So moving down from the federal level of government to the state level, many of us workers also have state income taxes. So whatever money that you get from your employer, it's 1/3 is stolen by the federal government, and then the state comes along to steal probably another, I think on average between 8 and maybe as much as 30% more. I think in California they have some pretty intensive rates of state taxation, federal income, like in addition to the federal income. So there goes another percentage of our money that we've earned through our own hard work. And then when we go buy groceries, or we put gas in our car, or we pay for our cell phone service, or really literally any other good or service that we buy, we have to pay what's called sales taxes, which is an additional form of states taking money from you to fund things that you may or may not agree with. Like, say in California, if your governor of California says everybody has to wear a face mask and destroy their health, yeah, that creature's getting funded by all those sales taxes, right? So by the time it's all done with that level of taxations, let's have a look at what we're paying for these days. So we have prisons for profit. We have medical institutions that make us sick. We have public education systems that make our children stupid and don't make them stupid, but they certainly don't attempt to tap into our children's potential or teach them anything that's useful. They don't, in fact, encourage at all the development of your potential. They encourage you to be a slave in the system, in the flag-waving Independence Day, Happy 4th of July, we're independent system. Let's see, what else do we pay for? We pay for tracking and surveillance and constant, surveillance on every device that we have, including this one I'm using to record this video. We have downright assaults by the TSA. I mean, there's no other way to put this. When you go through a millimeter wave machine, your DNA is being scrambled. Those are very dangerous machines. And the TSA forces us to go through those machines. And if we don't, then we have to be physically, sexually molested, because they own your body too, right? They can't just send you through the other x-ray, you know, the one that's been working just fine for several decades, before the implementation of this no-bid contract winning Israeli-based company that makes the L3 scanners. Then we have, organizations like, not very much, because most of their budget comes from private investors, but probably about 10% of the Center for Disease Creation, or CDC's budget, comes from our taxes. And what do they fund? These vaccination schedules that with every passing year, our children have to receive more and more and more vaccinations, until the point now where it's being declared, if you want to send them to these public indoctrination camps called school, which I believe are supposed to start up sometime next month or the month after, then they have to get Bill Gates' vaccination, the 060606 vaccination. For anybody out there that is familiar with a book called the Bible, you can refer to Revelations chapter 13 verse 17, I think it is, for the Mark of the Beast info. And then on top of all this, then at the end of the year, we have to file our so-called tax returns, in which case the IRS can get back to us and say, hey, you owe us another couple $100 more, or a couple $1,000 more, or whatever the case is. So none of those examples, to me, illustrate a people who are independent or who have freedom. So I hope that was a sufficient amount of examples, and I believe it is. You you have an imagination, family. Hope you can tap into your own intuition and ask yourself, do you really feel free? What about now with all these unlawful lockdowns over a fake game called the coronavirus? You can refer to I did a series on this called the Corona Game if you want to get some more information, or just look at anybody's information online. This is unlawful what they're doing, and it's a very nefarious agenda indeed. So, just to kind of break this down, and I also mentioned this in another holiday video called Memorial Day, but just to give you some reason why this situation exists, this slavery system. It's that the United States as a country was bankrupted in 1868 following the so-called Civil War, which was funded and fomented by the same banksters who issued the same debt-based fiat currency that we're suffering under now. And then we carried on for about 3 years, had maybe, I think, another war somewhere in that short time frame, and then the when the country was dismantled and the corporation was installed in 1868, that carried on for like 3 more years, and then the corporation was bankrupted. And so that's why you see a rise in taxes from being like 1%, which they had a bloody battle at the Boston Boston Harbor thing. Look that up. I think I included that in the show notes as well of the Memorial Day video. So it went up from like 1%, which, our ancestors were willing to, die for this, because they believed that there should not be, the fruits of my labor belong to me, and I should be able to voluntarily choose what it is I wish to fund and what it is I don't wish to fund. And so yeah, when the corporation was bankrupted in 1871, it just increased exponentially from there, going from around 1% to what is essentially now between 65 and 90%, depending on your income bracket and whether or not you can itemize and all these other silly things in the tax returns. Yeah, you're 2/3 or more of your income is being taken from you. So that's another way to illustrate that, if we truly were independent, then we would be free to keep the fruits of our labor, to enhance our lives as we choose, as we see fit. But being, according to the corporate maritime law rules, is we are basically human resources for the corporation, for a bankrupted corporation. So it's needing more and more and more all the time to fuel itself. So and of course that's just one way that we are harvested economically, for sure. But then psychically and spiritually, we are harvested on this day, and any other holiday, but by getting out there and waving our flags, of the corporation. And this is like a ritual for, I belong to the corporation, I am a resource of this corporation. And we don't realize it, but that's really truly what it is, because nobody of their own volition got up there and started waving a flag over all these taxes. This is dictated to us. It's part of the ritual. Wear your red, white, and blue. Go out, wave your flags, do the parades, do barbecues. Don't forget, always go and get some really dark energy animal product from the grocery stores and throw it on the barbecue and wash it down with more dark energy called alcohol and sugar, and then light some fireworks off too, because don't forget, the real purpose of fireworks, it's not for our entertainment, it's for our entrainment. It's because it's in our DNA memory, in our gut memory, the fear and the trauma our ancestors experienced when the fire and brimstone was falling down, when there were intergalactic wars going on, and there were pieces of spaceships and asteroids and planets that were being blown up and stuff, and there was this stuff falling down from the skies and destroying us. This is the fear, emotion, energy and motion of your ancestors that's being stoked by the fireworks. I personally have always despised fireworks. I would encourage each of you to find out, because like it just, like the sound of it, that pop bang kind of stuff, if you've ever been around, real gunfire, or in a combat zone of some sort where there were real bombs coming down on you, this is not a pleasant experience. This noise, this explosion, the energy that puts out, it's not natural. That we should be drawn to that as something that we desire. So that's kind of a little bit more background on the ritual of the 4th of July. And I'll close with this. I say this a lot because I think it's a pretty good analogy that most people can comprehend. If you've ever driven a car, you have to go and get your wheels. You can't just go, oh, I have a flat tire, let me put a new tire on there. That wheel has to be aligned. The wheel, the circle, the life of the vehicle, that which gives the vehicle motion, right? That has to be in alignment. And if it's not, then your car is going to drive really wobbly. It's not going to be able to go so fast. It's not going to be able to handle the curves and the turns that life throws at us, as well as if it were aligned. We will ultimately end up with the wheels falling off the vehicle and have what they call an accident. When we lend our energies to these rituals, to these things of the false light, that is essentially the same thing as driving a car with its wheels out of alignment. You might can go for a little while, but at some point there will be the crash. And it's all in divine order, like we're all here learning. So he has to say about the divine order, and I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's a spider web. In the last few days, I've had quite a few spiders. I've been talking with them a lot, especially since the tarantula experience, and inviting them in my space and looking at the webs that they weave, and how symmetrical are they, and how aligned are they and stuff. So it's a reflection of me. How beautiful is the spider's web, or how kind of asymmetrical, kind of off center is the web? That's me. I'm not going to get angry at the spider for weaving the web. So as we weave the web, as we create the story of our lives, it is my fervent desire that all of us, the children of Mother Earth, reconnect to her, celebrate her, do your rituals for her. Not for the false light. I hope this has been a blessing for you, family. If it has, it is my honor. Thank you so kindly for joining me. Namaste, family.